Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at none other than the Toys Battalion Underground King, aka Toys Era's version of Kingpin, supposedly from the PS4/PS5 Spider-Man game. Now, unfortunately, right off the bat, I have to let you know, he's massive. In fact, I think he's far too tall, but we will discuss that throughout the course of the video. Don't forget though, this is third party, it's unlicensed, that means it's an unofficial figure. I got mine from Comics Sanctorum. I have included the link down in the description below for your reference purposes only. This isn't a promotional video, this is a video review on a massive Kingpin figure I unfortunately picked up for my own collection. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. Here of course we have the box art, and I apologize, I didn't mean to be facetious with that comment. I'm still kind of excited to see what he looks like in person. I'll at the very least give him a chance. Now we do have a silhouetted image of the head sculpt in the background, Underground King down below, the same thing on the side, some legal information on the back, plus a cityscape. Now this box works in the very same way as the Toys Era Juggernaut boxes. You slide off the top cover, and then we have this big foam block housing the figure himself. And as you can see, yeah, this guy is absolutely massive. And that will only become even more apparent as we get through the video and get to our comparisons. But as you can see, he does have a couple of bits and pieces, so what we are going to do now is get all of Kingpin's accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Here we have all the parts and pieces, and as you can see, he doesn't come with a ton of stuff. I would have loved to have seen a Fisk Tower style display base to go along with the fight at the start of Spider-Man PS4, but nevertheless, let's talk about what he does come with. You get two different canes. Both of the rod sections are made of metal. You have an interesting kind of stopper with a bit of sculpt work on the bottom. Then up top you have either a serpent or this one, which is definitely the more menacing of the two. You've got a skull plus some spine vertebrae on the back. The paint applications are on point though. There's weathering, there's a little bit of patina, and they are suitably metallic. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with both canes. You also get two hands. They are simply fist hands. The skin texture is pretty darn decent, and the paint applications down in the crevices do bring out the details, including paintwork on the nails. What we are going to do now though is get Kingpin himself out here and take a closer look. Here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to be honest with you, he is too big, but if you don't factor in the size, which I know is very hard to do, it's actually a fairly decent Kingpin figure. Now, don't click off, stick with me, I'll explain my thought process. He is big, he is imposing, he's got these big broad shoulders, the muscly arms, and a slightly smaller head sculpt, but sometimes in the comics, he is drawn that way. Yes, I think for the most part, this guy isn't going to fit into everyone's displays, but if you do like the massive version of Kingpin that's this big imposing presence in your collection, then hey, maybe you want to give this guy a go. I'm going to try and put him into my display and see how it works out. Now, yes, he is bigger than some of the largest figures such as Thanos, but I don't know if that's going to bother everyone. I know it bothers some, it's definitely something that has been playing on my mind, but in isolation, in your Spidey display, my question is, will this guy work, or will he be slightly too large? Either way, yes, the size is an issue. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in and take a closer look at the details. Here we have him up close and personal. And even though I do have my grievances with the size, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still having a pretty darn good time taking a look at Kingpin here. Is he perfect? Hell no! But they have done some things quite well. Starting off with the head sculpt. Yeah, that looks like Wilson Fisk from the Spider-Man games. I love the skin texture, the paint applications are on point, and I really like the expression. Especially if you have him looking down, he looks even more mean. And let's be honest, due to the size of this guy, yeah, he's pretty much going to be looking down in perpetuity. Now, if you do have the head looking slightly up, you do reveal an unpainted skin tone neck. Now, of course, you can remedy that quite easily by tilting the head down or pushing the collar up. Now, the outfit itself is relatively simple. It's literally a black three-piece suit. I like the cut, I like the lining on the inside of the jacket, the matching pocket square and the tie, yeah, it's all on point. The one thing I do have to complain about for just a second though is the use of real buttons. There isn't a thing in this world that is more frustrating than having to sit down and thread through these tiny buttons into the holes on the vest or the suit jacket. Initially, when I got this guy out of the box, these were all undone, so I had to sit down and do them, and some of the buttons even came off, so I had to sew them back in place. It's a right pain. Please, Toys Era, consider using press studs, fake buttons, Velcro, anything else other than doing real buttons. Now, he does have a ton of padding in the body, which means you don't have a bunch of articulation. Now, coming down to the legs, the pants are relatively baggy, so that should give you a decent range, and you do have a real metal belt buckle up the top on his pleather belt. Lastly, coming down to the shoes, these might be the biggest dress shoes in my collection. They're almost quarter scale. I like the sculpt, the paint applications make them look suitably glossy, and no, the laces aren't real, but they are sculpted in. You don't have really any detail at all on the underside other than some stitching around the edges. But yeah, overall, I think Toys Battalion's heart was in the right place. They just bumped up the size a little bit too much. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have Hot Toys PS4 Advanced Suit alongside Kingpin. And yes, Kingpin is huge. Far too big, in my opinion. Now, I know what Toys Era were doing here. They thought, ooh, let's just save on costs, we don't have to tool a new body, we'll use the Juggernaut one. But no, this doesn't work. Toys Era, you should have splurged a little bit and made a new body for Kingpin, then you could have given us a comic book accurate version or an animated series version, and a lot of us would have double dipped. This, for me, just doesn't work. It takes Kingpin from being just a jacked big dude to being something else entirely. He's Hulk-sized, which, yeah, may work for some, but at this point in time, I don't think this guy is going to make it into my display. I mean, just to hammer that point home a little bit further, here we have the quarter-scale Spidey. And yeah, this Kingpin is still bigger than him. In my opinion, this shouldn't be a 1/6 scale release. It should be a quarter scale Kingpin. So for those of you out there who have this Spidey and who knows, maybe you want a Kingpin in your display, this guy could totally work. Because for 1/6 scale, yeah, I think it's a bit of a stretch. Just going over articulation. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Now, starting off with his big old noggin, it is on a double ball peg, so you do get it going forward and back, swivel, then pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there, they will go forward and back, but because there are multiple layers at play, it's a little bit more restricted. You don't have any butterfly up here, and you don't have any bicep swivel. All of the swivel comes from the elbow joint. You've got a single bend that gets you to 90, plus a double ball peg for the wrist. The torso is largely mostly padded, so you don't get a ton of range, but down here at the legs, you have them going forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, a single bend at the knee that doesn't quite get you to 90, and lastly a ball joint down here for the ankle. Just wrapping up on the Toys Battalion Underground King, aka the Toys era Kingpin from the Spider-Man game. Now, I personally wasn't expecting a lot going into this review. This guy has already been out for a short while, and he's stirred the proverbial pot. He's too big, he doesn't fit into my display. I totally understand all of those complaints, but let's talk about him from a technical perspective without addressing the size first, and then we'll get to that. The head sculpt is great, the likeness is on point, the paint applications are fantastic, and overall, yeah, he's an imposing presence in the display. The choice of body, even though it's too large, it's a great choice. I like the broad shoulders. I like the slightly more squat look to the legs. It gives him this real brawler vibe. The outfit is very well tailored, even though I loathe 1/6 scale real buttons. When you get it all buttoned up, I have to admit, yeah, it comes together quite nicely. Now, he doesn't come with a ton of accessories, but the canes are on point, and including some gripping hands and some fists, yeah, it's bare bones, but it gets the job done. I would have loved to have seen a display base, and at the end of the day, I would have loved to have seen him roughly half the size. For those of you out there who are massive comic book fans and are fans of massive Kingpin, then yeah, this guy can work for you. He is truly huge, as we've pointed out a bunch of times throughout the course of the video. Is he too large for my display? Well, we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to try and fit him in there and see how it works out, so stay tuned for a future update on that. But for the most part, can I recommend him? It comes down to your personal preference. For me, no, not really. I wouldn't say that this is the ultimate Kingpin. I think we are yet to see that. But if this is something that you absolutely have to have and the size doesn't bother you, then everything else, the paint applications, the outfit, it all is going to hold up. So that stuff, at the very least, you don't have to worry about. Now, I got mine from Comic Sanctorum. Do bear in mind it's third party, it's unlicensed. That means it's an unofficial product. I have included the link in the description below for your reference purposes only. While you're down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.